floor to ask a unanimous consent request, and I'm going to state the reasons for that before I ask for the request. And I appreciate my friend from New Jersey coming over to help me at this particular time. And so today the issue is fentanyl. Today's vote on this bill, as amended, should be a yes for every member of the Senate. This measure extends the life-saving authority placing fentanyl drugs in Schedule 1. In fact, a 15-month extension of this authority, similar to the bill that I offer right now, passed the Senate, and it passed the Senate unanimously in 2020. In case that you've not read the headlines for the past few years, fentanyl and its analogs are killing tens of thousands of Americans each year, and it happens that fentanyl and analogs are now the #1 cause of deaths for Americans ages 18 to 45, the most productive years of a person's life. The Drug Enforcement Administration placed fentanyl analogs in Schedule 1 in the year 2018. Congress has already extended this authority, like I'm seeking today, 5 times in 4 years. Now we're on the verge of extending it for a 6th time before it expires on March the 11th. During the Biden administration, these reauthorizations have gotten shorter and yet shorter. The periods of extension have been as short as just a few weeks. This has created constant doubt about whether fentanyl scheduling will even continue. I've received calls from families of people who have overdosed on fentanyl. I've received calls for law enforcement seeking our help for them to enforce the law. For the last 10 months, these families and these law enforcement people have been in terror that this authority will disappear, that thousands then would die from the fentanyl overdoses. We've extended fentanyl scheduling 5 times in 4 years, but 4 have been in the last 10 months alone. While extensions preserve a life-saving authority, this kind of legislation by extension is neither sustainable nor reflective of the great gravity of keeping fentanyl drugs in Schedule 1. A permanently scheduled solution is the best answer, but unfortunately, a permanent scheduling action isn't feasible right now. Now, why would that be the case? Because some members of Congress don't support keeping fentanyl analogs in Schedule 1, or maybe at all. Some reject our criminal drug laws altogether. That seems unbelievable, but that's what I sense from some of my colleagues. Fortunately, this is a fringe opinion and not very representative of the majority of Congress. Republicans and Democrats alike have voiced support for permanently scheduling fentanyl analogs, including even President Biden. But until Congress agrees on a bipartisan and a permanent solution, we must maintain the authority by extension. For years, I've been leading the fight to extend this authority in hopes of finding a permanent solution. I've urged Leader Schumer to support measures that extend fentanyl scheduling as long as possible. I've asked President Biden to engage with bipartisan congressional leaders on a permanent solution, and I've requested that Chairman Durbin hold a hearing on this issue in the Judiciary Committee. All these requests have obviously gone unanswered and ignored, or I wouldn't be here today asking for unanimous consent. Scheduling fentanyl analog matters, and why does it matter? It can save lives. Congress has the power. Congress has the responsibility to act. So we ought to do that in just a few minutes. But we can't make meaningful bipartisan change unless we have enough time to do it. So let's pass a long-term extension and finally then lead the way to a permanent solution. So, Mr. President, this is my unanimous consent request, that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of calendar number 45, S 1216. Further, that the Grassley amendment at the desk be considered and agreed to. The bill as amended be considered a third time and passed, and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection?